Let's Get To presents Go Go Astros, a focus on H-Town hardball.
And welcome to Go Go Astros. Brian and I are here. Today is Game 6. We are excited to see the guys back at Minute Maid, excited to have batting practice. Brian, I've seen some people make a lot about the batting practice thing. Ben Verlander, I tend to agree with him that, yeah, you don't need batting practice to warm up, but seeing the ball out of the hand against the batters, all those little things in a game of inches like that, I think matter. So how are you feeling the Astros getting back home this evening?
Yeah, I mean, I feel a lot better about it than I did walking into Game 5, that's for sure, because all we wanted out of Game 5 was to get to Game 6. And all we want out of Game 6 is to get to Game 7. So we're on the brink of elimination. But after a 2-game slump, and really a 4-game slump, you might say, the Bats woke up in Game 5. They scored 9 runs. And I think a big key to winning both Game 6 and Game 7 is for the Astros offense to return to normal and to score a whole bunch of runs.
Let's talk a little bit about the batting order. It has been much debated. I agreed with moving Bregman to 7. I think that's probably the only change I would make. There's been talk of sort of flipping Alvarez and Tucker. I think you keep Bregman at 7 the rest of the series, and you readdress it when we get to spring training. But overall, what are your thoughts on just the order that everybody's going up to hit?
Yeah, I mean, I think if there's any benefit to it, it's just sort of saying, it's just sending sort of a message of wake up to the team. But it's also something I think you almost have to be, in desperation to do it with this set of players who've been in the playoffs many times, who are veteran players and who, have to sort of I think would sort of grudgingly accept it. I don't think it's all that big a deal one way or the other. I'm not making a big deal of it, but anything that works should continue. Let's do the Bull Durham thing. Let's respect the streak.
Yeah, and I think I also think that there might be some other things going on with Bregman besides just not seeing the ball well. He's played a really great defensive third base, but he looks a step slow. He looks like maybe he's not fully recovered from his quad.
Yeah, and there's some indication that he may have a wrist injury of some kind. Correa made a reference to this the other day, and he's been trying to adjust his swing to have sort of both hands on it further along. So, and he made a thing about, not having his top hands. So that could be a part of it, that he's not 100%, but I'm not sure anybody's 100% at this time of the year. And he'll start resting on, hopefully Thursday.
If we look at if we look at games 3 and 4, which was the more frustrating for you to watch? Was it, Game 4 where Javier two small mistakes that ended up being big mistakes but I don't think you can blame a pitcher when you lose 3-2, or just how ineffectively wild the Braves were in Game 3 that just made them unpredictable and hard to hit.
It's like asking me which is my least favorite child, right? This is, both are, terrible and annoying, things to watch and, frustrating. I think it's Game 3 because I think they could have hit, Anderson. But again, hopefully they get another shot at that tomorrow night, but they got to get through tonight to do that.
What are your big concerns with the Astros pitching staff? I'm not terribly concerned. I think, people are talking about Garcia on 3 days rest. He's a young guy. He didn't throw that many pitches. And then the question of Urquidy, was Urquidy threw 12 pitches? I'm not worried about Urquidy being unavailable. Are there any big concerns for you that just say sort of what Dave Roberts dealt with in the NLCS, where he did overly tax his pitching staff? It seems to me it's an equal distribution of overtaxation.
Yeah. Going on short, so Garcia's going to go on short rest, but I don't think he's going to go for long. He went for 3 2/3 in his Game 3 start, 76 pitches, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't expect him to go, 2 to 3 innings, but that puts more pressure on the bridge between Garcia and the big 3 in the back of the bullpen, who I expect to go 7, 8, 9 in.
You mean big 4?
Maton and Javier may be, what you expect to get you through, 3 through 6 and some combination there. Now, Maton went 2 innings in game 5 and has been, and despite Javier not having a good night on in game 4, the two of them have like a 1.29 ERA in the playoffs. They've given up 3 runs in 20 plus innings. So they've been outstanding and a real big key to why we're 2 wins away from winning the World Series. So I expect to see some of them. Tonight. It seems very clear they don't want to pitch Jaco to Rizzi at all.
Does that surprise you because he actually threw very well against them in game 1?
A little bit, but we got a real effective inning out of Urquidy. The plan was to have Urquidy go multiple innings, but he got removed from the game for a really good reason. They had so many hitters come up in the 5th and scored so many runs that they needed to pinch hit for him. So that kind of messed up the plan, but that should make him good to go. Again, they could use him in the middle innings today, or he could be held back to start in game 7. Again, you have to win today. So, Dusty will employ all his resources today in whatever needs to be done, and then we'll figure out tomorrow.
Yeah, I could see, if tomorrow happens, you get an inning, it'll be very Oprah Winfrey, and hopefully you can find the right combination of 9 guys.
Yeah, and it'll be true for both teams in that way tomorrow too.
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't think Braves fans can be totally comfortable with either of their starting pitching, considering one gave up 6 earned runs in game 2, and one only didn't give up runs again because he was just all over the place. Who has more pressure in your mind? Do you think it's the Astros right now, or do you think it's the Braves, or does that even matter?
I'm always at the school. It really doesn't matter. I mean, both have a lot of pressure. They're also people who play, it's a team of, professionals who played at this point probably thousands of baseball games in their lives. If you go through Little League and minors and, Arizona Fall League and various things they played. So in some ways, I think the biggest adjustment for any of them is dealing with all the stuff off the field. But once they get on the field, yeah, it's different because the crowds are certainly different than they are in the regular season. But they've been doing this since, all of these have been doing this and doing this well since they were 6 years old. I think they're okay once they get on the field.
Yeah, I really wonder what the psyche of the Atlanta clubhouse will be if they don't win tonight. Staring down, having given up the big lead last year in the NLCS. I mean, just the Atlanta curse. 28-3 in Houston in the Super Bowl. I mean, there's a lot from a screenwriting perspective. There's a lot of nature to fight in that situation.
There's a lot of narrative, but narrative doesn't pitch. So I would like, I certainly see how we'll sort of attach that, particularly if the Braves lost a 3-1 series lead last year in the National League Championship Series. Certainly that's something that'll be talked about a lot tomorrow, tonight and tomorrow, if we end up in a game 7. But, the real focus for the Astros right now is winning game 6, because we can't have any of that without winning game 6.
Have you been surprised how unhittable Maton has been? I mean, I know that the people on this show never gave up on him like the rest of the internet, but I think even you might have even said like he was more a 2022 edition, even as far as where we thought we'd find value in him.
I mean, he had a shaky regular season both in Cleveland and in Houston. He had a really high BABIP, and that was one of the more sort of curious things, because Cleveland has a pretty good defense, and of course Houston has a great defense. And whatever sort of his BABIP was sort of moved, but he has cut down on his walks in particular in the playoffs, and he seems to be able to again throw his pitches more effectively, both in the strike zone and also making it look like it's going to be in the strike zone and getting swings and misses on pitch outside. He has great spin rates and great amounts of particularly horizontal movement on his pitches. And, it's finally paying off at the right time. I hope that continues for 2 more games.
How do you see tonight going then? I mean, where is your overall confidence level? I feel pretty good, but
yeah, to me, it's a question of whether they hit or not, right? They've won the games in the series where they've scored more than 5 runs. I don't think they're going to hold the Braves to 2 or 3 runs tonight, but they certainly could win another 9-5 game. and they will need key contributions from lots of different pitchers to be able to hold them off. Again, so far they've been able to do that, particularly in the bullpen. They've gotten really, again, with the frustrations of Game 4 aside, they've gotten really great work out of their bullpen throughout the playoffs, and particularly in the World Series. That'll need to continue tonight because they'll pitch most of the innings.
Unless Garcia just comes out and just.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Well, how much would you love? Would you love like 8 one-hit innings or something? That'd be pretty sweet.
I wouldn't turn it down. That's for sure.
So then let me ask you this. I'll ask you the same question we asked Andy on yesterday's episode as we wrap up. Tomorrow, when we meet, are we previewing Game 7 or are we starting to put a bow on the 2021 season?
I'm gonna go on a limb here. I'm predicting double-digit runs from the Astros tonight. They're gonna hit the Braves, finally really get to this pitching staff, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
All right, you heard it here first. All right, Brian, go Stros.
Go Stros.